I'm Otto.
Here is. I'm Hollow. And I'm Kanisha.
And in this video, my group and I will be talking about the Śrīivijaya kingdom. The kingdom started a long time ago, and it was one of the greatest empires in Indonesian history. Even the name Sriwijaya means shining victory. Here are some information and history about it. It began in the 7th century. Their first king was Śrīivijaya Naga, and their greatest king was Raja Dharmatahyang. He was known as being the greatest because he had a dream to make the Śrīivijaya kingdom the greatest empire there is. With his power, he was able to achieve this goal, and he conquered many lands until he reached Jambi, which is an Indonesian province. The kingdom was located in South Sumatra, Palembang, and it reached two main countries other than just Indonesia, and they are Malaysia and Thailand, which are also said that they had Sriwijaya civilization in the old times. The kingdom was powerful to a few different factors, and one of the factors is that the location was very good. They were able to get sources of living from nature, and because of this, they were able to do good when selling and trading to different countries and kingdoms. A few years later, the kingdom started to decline in the 12th century, and it was conquered in the 14th century by the Majapahit kingdom.
So, according to research conducted by the National Archaeology Research Center, there was an archaeologist by the name of Bambang Budyutong. He had recently found a relic that has been dated back to the 12th century, and it has recently been found in the areas of Sumatra or either Palembang. Palembang used to be a major harbor between the trading of China and India, the Chola dynasty, also between Persia. So, how they determine the age of the artifact was that they had determined it by conducting a thermal lab test. The thermal lab test helps indicate that the age of the material. The more reaction to it had made means that the more aged it has. So this means that when the reaction had been made, means that the probability of the artifact being older than the 12th century means that could be a possibility. But then for now, because of the aesthetic style of writing that was related to the Chola dynasty, or used to look like from, it has been told that it could probably belong to the 12th century when the Chola dynasty decided to attack the Palembang harbor because of the high taxes.
The culture of the Śrīivijaya kingdom was based on Buddhism, specifically the Mahayana Buddhism, which was introduced from India. And according to factsanddetails.com, because the Śrīivijaya kingdom was such a stronghold for Mahayana Buddhism, it attracted many scholars and leaders from around the world, including the Chinese monk I Ching and the Indian leader Atisha, which helped create Buddhism all around Śrīivijaya. There is one legend that has been going around the Śrīivijaya kingdom, and it was called The Princess and the Chinese Prince. The story goes that the prince came to Indonesia as studies, and he met the Indonesian princess there, and then the two fell in love. And because the prince loved her so much, he tried to go back to China and give gifts to the Indonesian kingdom. His father told him to bring gold and not food. But the prince brought food instead, and his father got really mad. So he drowned the cargo with the food, and without knowing, he drowned his son with the food. And when the person told the king, he tried to hide it from the Indonesian kingdom to not get them mad. But eventually, the princess and the Śrīivijaya kingdom found out. So the princess tried to kill herself and drown her to follow the fate of the prince. And at the end, she said if there was going to be a tree or land that was near the river where she drowned herself, it would be called the Tree of Love. And that's the story.
By the early 11th century, there was some type of increase in economical disasters in the Sriwijaya kingdom. So the Sriwijaya kingdom had an existing economical problem and an existing problem between the king. There were major problems back then, but this one was related to the Palembang harbor trade. So, when the Chola dynasty wanted to trade with the Sriwijaya people, they had imposed a higher tax than usual, which was because of their economic control. This wasn't a great economic move because the Chola dynasty was one of their main traders, which without them, their economy wouldn't be what they would be right now. So, what this means that the Śrīivijaya kingdom was initiating a challenge between the Chola dynasty. Now, this challenge meant that because of the higher tax rates, they had to impose a naval war. So, the Śrīivijaya kingdom had a very good naval defense, but they were also struggling on land. So, while they were struggling on land, they were being attacked by the Javans repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly. And by the 12th century, they had gone so low that they were almost conquered. But this is what the Chola dynasty did. So, when they came around with their fleet of ships, the Śrīivijaya kingdom, as they're known as, they're known by taming pirates of the sea. So pirates that were committed, or pirates that wanted to commit to the treaty or get paid somehow, they would probably take the job of protecting the Palembang harbor. But what they did was, they didn't protect it at all. They ran away. Because as you've seen as the naval fleet of the Chola dynasty, it was so big in fact that it literally plundered the Palembang harbors, and they had no richness left back in their harbors. So when this plunder came, it gave us an opportunity for other kingdoms to plunder as well. So while the Chola dynasty plundered, more countries came in, and other countries came in, and other kingdoms came in. So when this happened, the Śrīivijaya kingdom was weakened, and while it was weakened, by the 12th century or by the 13th century, they were drove out of the peninsula by the Javans, and ultimately their kingdom had ended because the kingdom was near a river, and the river was compromised, which then took on the villages and then took on the kingdom, one of the last places of economy that existed.
So does the kingdom relate to any biblical perspective? The answer is yes, it does. This kingdom was a religious center in the region, and it was one of the greatest kingdoms ever made in Indonesia. Well, Śrīivijaya kingdom was a very popular kingdom. Even some say that this kingdom had traded with Arab and India and also China. Well, from here we can see an obvious connection between the kingdom of Śrīivijaya and also the kingdom of Israel, where the King David was ruling. We can take the popularity, for example, we can take the similarity by their popularity. Śrīivijaya kingdom was popular even outside Indonesia, and it's the same like the kingdom of Israel. The kingdom of Israel was popular even outside the country itself. Besides this, we also found a connection between the kingdom's favorite and also the most popular king, which is Raja Dapuntahyang, and Jesus. They both are heroic, great leader, and the chosen ones to have important roles. Well, King Dapuntahyang was popular by making the kingdom prosperous. Jesus was popular by helping people not to make sins. That is why they both are heroic. And Raja Dapuntahyang was a great leader because he successfully raised the kingdom's economy and etc. Jesus was a great leader because he successfully segregated people from sins.
The kingdom started to decline in the 12th century, and it was conquered in the 14th century by the Majapahit kingdom. The Sriwijaya kingdom fell due to war, and the war was between them and the Chola kingdom. The reason of the war is still unknown, and although it is unknown, there's a theory that it was because of political situations in the Chola kingdom. The Chola kingdom took Sriwijaya's kingdom's king and kidnapped him, and this war caused the Sriwijaya kingdom to fall and plunder. Arthur! Okay, ready? 1, 2.
There's one like, wait, oh.
Ready?
From here we can already see the obvious connection. This kingdom had traded with China and Japan by
Hungarian.